Some see a student athlete working on a shot. We see a powerful lesson in persistence. Some see a student preparing for success on an exam. We see a student athlete preparing for success in life. Proud to keep education in front of athletics since 1903. Some see a student athlete working hard in the weight room. We see a future leader learning there are no shortcuts to success. Some see a start to a swim meet. We see the starting blocks for life. Proud to keep education in front of athletics since 1903.
At Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, we're not just good at insurance.
We're good at Matt's one-car, two-bedroom apartment with a home office/home gym insurance. We're good at Nick's SUV and farmhouse with a remodeled kitchen/art gallery insurance.
And we're good at the Wilbur suburban home with the two-car garage/rehearsal space insurance.
Have you seen my hockey socks?
Have you checked your sock drawer?
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and stop knocking on wood.
At Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, we're not just good at insurance. We're good at Emma and Jake's just baby-proof their two-bedroom bungalow to prepare for baby number 1 insurance. We're good at Madeline and Chance's just gave in and became minivan people to make room for baby number 2 insurance. And we're good at Gabby and Nate's just moved to a house with a bigger backyard to welcome fur baby number 3 insurance. Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and stop knocking on wood.
It's time for the Commissioner's Corner, an exclusive weekly conversation about Indiana high school sports with the Commissioner of the IHSAA, Paul Neidig. Now for an up-to-the-minute report about what's happening in the constantly changing world of high school sports, here's Coach Bob Lovell with Commissioner Paul Neidig.
Welcome back, everyone, to our weekly conversation with the Commissioner of the IHSAA, Paul Neidig. And Paul, I know this sounds like a broken record, but it's an incredibly busy time for you at the IHSAA headquarters. You have the pairing show for the boys' state finals coming up Sunday, which you and your staff will be graciously hosting. We're in the semi-state round for the girls' basketball, wrestling finals going on. We wrapped up swimming at the natatorium in the campus of IUPUI last week. The Carmel girls winning again. We have on the administrative side, the enrollment numbers have been released, which begins a 2-year process for reclassification. Have I pretty much hit the highlights of what's been going on in your office for the past few days?
Yeah, Coach, you did. And besides that, we had a little bit of a water leak, and we had a few other things along the way. So it's just normal business around here. So, yeah, it's that time of year, and we got a lot of things going on.
You do have a lot of things going on. I do want to mention briefly that we will be at your place on North Meridian Street on Sunday. Greg Rakestraw and I are honored to be asked back to do the pairing show for the boys' basketball state finals. I can't believe we're at that point in the year, but we encourage everyone, get involved with your watch parties and send us that information. You'll be joining us on the broadcast, and it's another one of those special nights for the IHSAA.
It is, Coach, and I'm confident it'll be an Emmy award-winning production because of the talent that we have. But yeah, it's tournament time, and we're going to have that show on Sunday evening. We're going to reveal the bracket, and nobody does it like you and Greg do. Just your expertise about what's going on in high school basketball around this state certainly is on display when we do that show, and we're going to gain some insight into their teams along the way, brackets, matchups, and who people are going to, then the debate will begin on who's going to play who and who's going to win.
Well, we're at that point now with the semi-states. You just had the semi-state pairing show for the girls tournament. Regionals were great. As we said during the pairing show, it's very well balanced and is headed toward what we know is going to be a tremendous day for the state finals at Gainbridge just around the corner.
In this the pairing show, and it's a tough Saturday for the ladies that have made it this far in the tournament. You got to win two. You got to win two to be able to play for the biggest award that we have here at the association, and that's that state championship. And we're excited. We're ready. Janie Ulmer and her group, her committee's working right now. I see them back in the back working on tickets for the state finals, and it never ends. And we're going to welcome some teams next week to Gainbridge Fieldhouse, home of the Pacers and Fever, the best sponsors in the world, or some of the best sponsors in the world of high school basketball, and we're going to celebrate state championship next weekend.
We mentioned reclassification. Your enrollment numbers were released. As we mentioned, a 2-year process to reclassify, something you do every 2 years. And it is about the process. And this is the first step in this process with the release of those enrollment numbers.
It is, Coach, and we haven't put schools in classifications yet. That'll come next, but we have a lot of people out there doing that for us right now, the prognosticators and the speculators, and that's okay. That's part of the lore of this, But they are numbers are released. We put them on the street yesterday, so the public and our schools can review those, and then in a very short time we'll place schools in classifications. Whether they're a 1A, 2, or 3, or 4A in some of our sports, but we have a 6-class classification for football and a 3-class classification for boys and girls soccer.
How many teams move up or move down? You don't have a great number of teams that do see this movement, do you?
No, you don't. Now, we had to change this year, Coach, where we're only taking the top 20% of the schools in the state of Indiana and putting them in 4A, and then 25% in 3A, 25% in 2A, and 30% in 1A, because not all 1A schools play all sports.
He's the commissioner of the IHSAA. Paul Neidig joins us. Thanks so much for the information. Have a wonderful weekend, Paul, and we'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely, Coach, and hope to see a lot of people in Evansville this weekend for the state finals in wrestling.
Thanks for listening to The Commissioner's Corner with IHSAA Commissioner Paul Neidig and Coach Bob Lovell. And thank you for your continued support of the high schools in your community.
All right, welcome everyone to the Terrace of the Trojan Trench. I'm Andy O'Hara. Alongside me here tonight is Quentin Ames and Caleb, Caden, and Silas on the sideline camera. Kenny Barnhart and the Hall of Famer Ryan Lim are here for the Triton Trojan Sports Network, broadcasting live on YouTube and the IHSAA Champions Network as Triton welcomes in the Rochester Zebras as these two teams will square off tonight. Hugh, looking at these two teams who I watched and filming these guys, Rochester, a very physical team. Triton coming off a very big win against LaVille, currently riding that 5-game win streak they're on. Tonight, they're going to have their hands full, this Rochester team.
Oh, yeah, they are. I mean, Rochester has always been a very big, very physical team, and Triton, for the last couple of years, they haven't really had the height or the size, and Rochester, they do a really good job of using what God's given them, and they go out there and they play physical.
And I remember watching Rochester when I called Warsaw games. They played Warsaw 3 times there before I graduated, and with those Corey Barnett teams, we're going to go back a little ways. who went down and played for IU. I mean, watching those teams, I mean, this Rochester has always been physical. You played against these guys. It's going to be physical, but they've got some shooters. And the big thing for me, Triton's got to watch their fouls because this team is automatic from the free throw line.
Yeah, I mean, they are. Like you said, I mean, they have almost 5 guys shooting 80% from the free throw line, and that's really big. But for the Trojans, I mean, they flipped it around since that South Central game. They started their free throw percentage. They're going to the line now, and they're really knocking them down. And now they brought their season total to 59%.
You know, the season of the all-time series since 1969-1970 favors the Zebras 33-25. Kenny, every time we watch this Rochester group and every time we watch Triton play, they're going to have to be on their toes tonight.
Yeah, this is one of those games, and we keep kind of said it off and on. You know, you can't get in a hole at that start. We can't have this timeout here, 2 or 3 minutes in, Groves calling the guys and go, hey, what are you doing?
Yep.
This is one of those things, if you get that far behind, you probably can't going to make it up against these guys.
You look at these guys right out the gate. I mean, they average 13 points per game in the first quarter and 14 points a game there in the second. Triton kind of isn't up there with them, but yet defensively they hold their opponents around 10 points a quarter in those first two on average. And tonight, like I said, it's going to be an interesting night. I think between these two teams, Rochester, there's a lot of things you got to like there on offense, and Triton, we'll see if that defense can step up and force some things in transition.
Yep. I mean, that's what they got to do. They got to get out in transition. They got to be fast. They got to try and be as physical as they can. They really got to look to take more charges. They got 24 on the season, and I think against a really big team, that's the stone for David and Goliath right there.
Yep, exactly. We're about 20 seconds away. We'll have the national anthem followed by Jordan Nickus with the starting lineups, and we'll be back right here on the Triton Trojan Sports Network.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Trojan Crunch for tonight's contest between the Rochester Zebras and your Triton Trojans. On behalf of the Triton community and the entire staff and student body of the Triton Junior Senior High School, we welcome Rochester as our guest at tonight's contest. We ask that all fans and players demonstrate an attitude of respect and good sportsmanship throughout today's contest. Your cooperation and positive support are greatly appreciated. Now, will you please rise? Gentlemen, kindly remove your hats as we play the national anthem. Oh, say can you see? Mr. Rob Malchow. Let's get on our feet for your Triton Trojans. At guard, number 5, Dante Orton. At guard, number 10, Julian Swanson. At guard, number 20, Gabe Ripple. At guard, number 24, Jacob Pitney. And forward, number 33, Andrew Williams. Varsity coach for the Trojans, Mr. Jason Brooks. Team officials for tonight are Gene Field, Keith Elliott, and Lane Meeks. Let's have a great time.
All right, and the starting lineups out there is Pitney. Gets ready to tip things off against Bryce Bogger. As they settle in.
This makes me want to watch Space Jam now.
Nothing wrong with that. Ball's up. And the Zebras control the tip as Bowers brings it up past the half-court line. Bowers up top the key. He'll try the dribble drive. Kicks it out to Reinertz. Reinertz kicks it on out. Back down to Bowers. Back out. Prater with the basketball by the free throw line. Spinning out away. Goes to Bowers. On the way. Can't drop that three-pointer in. And Riffle gets the rebound. Rochester going to turn it up into pressure right as soon as Triton got that ball.
Trojans got to hurry up and recognize what they're doing. Get across. There you go. Set your setup. There you go. Great job by the Trojans to recognize that press and get across.
Triton didn't see in time. Riffle was open. Workman kicks it out. Riffle for three. Can't hit it off the far iron, a little too strong. And Pollock comes away with the rebound. Prater with the basketball. Hands off to Bowers. Bowers kicks it out. I want to say two-pointer on the way, no good there for Bogger. Let's see the official signal.
Looked like his foot might have been on the line over there in that corner.
Trying working it across here, getting
they're
pressured
getting
early.
out of time.
Out of Swanson. Swanson lost off his foot, falls to the floor, slips it away, and Triton turns it over. Bowers, no-looks pass. Jumper on the way, no good there. Jacob Pitney blocked that one there by Pollock. Dante Workman, transition three, can't rattle it home. And Reinertz gets the rebound.
Slow start for both the teams right now.
Reinertz tops the key. Kicks it left. Pollock tries a three and lifts the lid. And that's our first basket of the game, and it belongs to Rochester. Pitney up the floor to Workman, now finds Whithoyle. Whithoyle tries to go over to Riffle, but Reinertz has different ideas, and Bowers steals the basketball, almost steals the basketball. Swanson now with it. Back to Riffle. Corner three on the way. Can't answer back with a three-pointer of his own. Bowers now in transition. Feeds it up to Pollock. Pollock in transition. Kicks it out. Prater up on top. Leaves it for Bogger. Pollock in the corner. Reinertz tries to dribble drive from the top of the key. Kicks it out to Bogger. Now to Reinertz. Goes up with it.
Move.
Banks close, and Pitney comes away with the defensive board. Up the floor to Riffle, adjusts to come back to that one. Now back to Riffle, feeds it down to Whithoyle, fakes it, kicks it out to Pitney. The senior for three. Jacob Pitney answers with a three-pointer of his own for the senior.
That was good offense right there. They took their time, got the shot that they wanted, and now you got the bucket.
Reinertz to answer back. Can't drop it off the side of the rim. And Whithoyle collects the rebound. Jason Gross trying to get his group to push it, trying to run out of time. Really flirting with that 10-second. Pitney again for three. Can't drop it in. Rebound there goes to Reinertz. Scanning down the floor, leaves it for Pollock. Pollock on the right wing, goes down in. Prater with the basketball. So just trying to find that opening seam. Prater tops the key, now he drives. Leaves it for Reinhardt's. Reinhardt's pull-up jumper inside the elbow, drops it in the bucket.
Rochester not pressing as hard as they were.
Pollock knocked it away, and the Zebras come away with the steal. Now to Prater. No look to the other side, and Dante Workman intercepts it, and back go the Trojans. So halfway gone here, only 8 points combined between the two teams.
Get across.
Yeah,
there you go.
Like you say, it's
Taking their
got to
time.
be in that nine and a half seconds.
Swanson now goes to Pitney. Now to Workman. Riff will open the corner. He'll try another three. Can't drop it in. Woodhoyle goes up, and he'll draw the end one opportunity.
Oh, he looks gassed.
It's been a very physical 3 minutes or over.
And that right there, that shows right there what a full court pressure will do. I mean, even though he may not be running and doing everything,
that intensity of just staying alert. Yeah,
it's a lot.
So Pollock picked up his first for the Zebras.
Woodhoyle gets the second one. So Bazo checks in, as well as Dylan Hook for the Zebras, and Pitney rips that one away. Triton a chance to take a lead on this basket, and can't drop it in.
That go through his legs?
It was close. So Triton with the lead here. After that and one opportunity, a chance to extend the lead. Pitney,
good move.
Prater hops his way through and goes up with that one. So he'll get the N1 opportunity.
So Riffle picked up the first Trojan foul.
So Prater settles in. And he'll get 3 points the old-fashioned way as Bogger checks in for him. So Triton will see how they answer this press here. Been very close to 10 seconds the last couple times. Up to Workman now. He gets it across the half-court line. Skips it across to Swanson. Swanson weeding his way through. Gets it knocked away there by Bazo. Hook gets the basketball and back go the Zebras. Bazo on the left wing in transition, scanning, looking to go to the top of the key and waits for Bogger to get freed up. And he'll take off in a travel call from the near side official as Triton will send in Caden Large and Landon Patrick on behalf of Woodhoyle and Julian Swanson.
Going to be one of those games where there's probably going to be a lot of substitutions on both ends.
Yep.
Keep your guys fresh. I'd hit Gage right here, right away.
Yep, right there.
There you go.
Yep.
Reinhardt's going to get called for the foul.
It's difficult sometimes when you're breaking that press, but you just got to get it over. And if you're the guy on the opposite end receiving, you got to know you're either going to come and get trapped or somebody's going to come and try to poke that ball free. So you got to be strong.
Yep. So yeah, Reinhardt did pick up his first, team second.
Julian is back in for Pitney.
And Pollock and Prater check back in for the Zebras. Pat. Workman now atop the key. Gets double team, goes to Patrick. Landon with the basketball, stops. Goes to Swanson. Swanson drives, now to Riffle. He'll try the up fake. He'll drive down the baseline, skips it out. Patrick by himself for three. Can't drop it in. Rebound goes to Julian Swanson. Triton controls the rebound.
It's a very long team. You got to be careful with all those passes.
Riffle tries a contested three. Counted from the corner. And Triton back out in front by one. We get a foul call on Triton here on the drive.
Large is going to pick up his first, Trojan's second team foul.
Reinhardt and Bowers check back in. So Rochester back with their starting five on the floor. On top to Prater, fakes it. Now he goes to Bowers. The team's leading scorer for 3. Count that one.
Drew Bowers. 3-point shot by Bowers.
Patrick now goes to Swanson. Fakes it left, hangs on to it.
Rochester's in a man finally, so Trojans going to look to run their first set.
Workman now in the corner. Clearing it out. Now he'll take him off the drive. Lost dribble, going to run out of time. Goes up with it and drops it in with the jumper inside the paint.
Oh, quickly down the field, down the court.
Pollock kicks down to Reinertz. Now to Bogger by himself for 3. Off the front iron, no good. Rochester controls the rebound as Workman and company trying to rip it away and does. Dante Workman accelerates 1-on-2 fast break. Nolan finds Riffle, goes up, can't get the transition basket to drop in. And Prater comes with the rebound. Bowers quickly back to the way. Bogger out to Reinertz. Goes underneath. Bowers by himself. Banks open.
Timeout.
Inside a minute to go here. Rochester by 2. Patrick, they'll skip it back and forth across the way. Patrick with the basketball. Goes to Swanson. Now to Large in the left wing. Goes to the corner. Riffle by himself. He'll try another 3. Catch and shoot. Can't drop it in. Rebound there goes to Pollock. Leaves it for Bogger. Tracks it down. Now finds Reinertz. He'll try the dribble drive all the way through up and in and draws the foul.
Right there.
And one opportunity coming there for Rochester.
Got to step up and you got to take that charge. Great job right there. Taking it all the way and not stopping. Nobody got in front of you.
So another Riffle, second foul.
Pitney and Whithoyo to check back in.
Jacob Pitney and Tanner Whithoyo in for the Trojans.
So on behalf of Riffle and Patrick, so Reinhardt's a chance to get 3 points the old-fashioned way.
Tanner Reinhardt's the line shooting 1.
Of course, halftime, we're going to recognize the girls' basketball teams for the middle school and the elementary school. Reinhardt's patient, drops it in. Like I said, this is a team you do not want to send to the free throw line.
Going to make them all count.
So Dylan Hook checks in for the Zebras. Now goes to Swanson. Workman and cross the way to Julian.
Here comes the trap.
Trying to find a way to fight through this trap. Workman goes down into Caden Large underneath the basket. Can't get it to drop in. And Dylan Hook gets the rebound, and that's going to do it for the first quarter. Rochester leads 16-11. As Kenny said, a team that cannot get started off slow. Triton right there allowed 16 points in the first quarter. Couldn't quite catch it. This seems like they're very lackadaisical in their movement.
Yeah, they was right there kind of, say when they had changed up this defense down here, it took them just a little bit to, like you said, you finally got to run a set. And but still got a little stall, but Workman got that basket. But, yeah, just the biggest thing is noticing here Rochester, when they're getting a defensive rebound, it's seconds, and that ball's back down here. The Trojans got to get back and get set because it got burned a few times getting basket underneath and quick shots.
Yeah, and on that Dante Workman bucket, I mean, that was just pure athleticism, just getting you a bucket. He knew that 3 seconds was about to get called, and he's like, okay, I'm confident with this shot. But even then, Rochester did a great job. They got that ball, and they were up before. I think there was only 2 Trojans back, and there was at least 3 or 4 Zebras.
Mm-hmm. On the same time, we go off any offense or defensive rebound by Triton. It didn't matter. Rochester was up in your face and pressing you the full length of the court there. So their defensive pressure, got to give Rochester a lot of credit. They owned that first quarter. Good ball movement, really set things up in transition, but this group very physical with this Trojan team underneath. The
Trojans just got to do a slightly better job of getting it across. I mean, they're getting it across, but when you're getting across at 9 seconds, one of these times you're going to get that 10-second, and that just hurts.
Kind of kills your momentum a little bit as well.
It does. And if you're the Zebras, you realize you just got one, so you got to be more aggressive.
Whithoyo on the right elbow. He'll try to drive. Goes up. Banks open for the collector, Tanner Whithoyo. Prater on the left wing. Up on top goes to Reinertz. Reinertz drives. Goes to Bowers, and Bowers and Swanson going to get caught in the air.
Got to stay down.
Good recognition by Bowers.
So Swanson picked up his first.
Bowers inbound on his own baseline. Receives the handoff. Corner three on the way. Can't drop it in. Prater with the offensive rebound. Goes to Bogger, now to Reinertz.
Good movement.
Bogger on the left side goes to Bowers. Now Reinertz. Short corner two on the way. Drops it in the bucket.
That's a pretty looking shot right there.
Coach Malchow calling on his defensive set. Pitney on the left side. Skips it across to Swanson. Deep three on the way. Can't drop it in. Dylan Hook gets the defensive board and tips it to Reinertz. And back of the Zebras. Prater now in the corner. Jabs, drives, lost his dribble. Tries to go back door, gets it tipped away. Regains control, and we're going to say he traveled in the paint. Now Landon Patrick checks in for Caden Large. And Rochester can continue to pressure that half-court line. Swanson now goes to Patrick. To Workman in the corner. Skips it across. Pitney, the senior, calls for it from the corner. Can't drop it in. But Hoyos can't collect it. He collects the rebound, but he steps on the baseline. And back the ball goes with Rochester.
Man, Trojans just can't buy a shot from deep. I mean, over the last 4 games, they've shot almost 50% tonight.
Just 2 of 11 right now.
Very slow start.
Bogger now goes to Reinertz. The big man retreats back to the top of the key, kicks it to Bowers in the corner. Now to Bogger, lost the ball. Now he'll kick it up, but here comes Landon Patrick. Somehow tries to save it, but throws it out of bounds. Boy, if he back.
That would have made it. That would have been the most impressive shot I've ever seen in my life.
Well, they'll say he stepped on the sideline before he did so, and right there, that's the kind of plays Triton needs to create for themselves to get that confidence back.
I like this switch by Coach Groves, putting Landon on Bowers.
Bogger underneath, hop step, goes on, hits that one underneath the backboard. Dante Workman accelerates. Patrick, transition three on the way. Can't drop it in too strong. Reinertz with the rebound. Now to Hook. Goes up, draws the foul. He'll go to the line for 2.
So Pitney's picked up his first, team's second.
Hook settles in, first one on the way, back iron. Jack Reffett will check in, the 6'2 sophomore. Connects on the second one. Extends their lead to 6. Now to Patrick. Skips it across the way to Swanson.
Gotta be careful.
Swanson puts it on the floor, now goes to Workman on the right wing. Workman lost his dribble, finds Patrick. Landon Patrick, the runner inside the lane. He'll draw the foul, and he'll go to the line for 2.
So Hook picked up his first, team's first.
Tickles the twine on the first. And drops it in the bucket on the second. Triton with 4 points here in this second quarter, trailing by 4. Tipped by Patrick, Workman takes it. Dante Workman accelerates with the left hand and good. And Triton cuts it to 2. Patrick tipped the ball and Dante Workman took it the rest of the way.
He's just so fast too.
Triton with the foul call and quickly Caden Large in the game.
Yeah, because Pitney just picked up his second.
That's now 2 Trojans with 2 fouls.
And now a 30-second timeout by the Zebras. They will take the first timeout of the game. They will have 4 remaining. So time's running down. Hopefully, we're here soon. You'll have your sectional draw.
Yeah, that's going to be coming up here shortly. Yep, he just threw that up there. He's getting ready to. Well, so we'll be back here on Saturday evening with the Plymouth game, and then travel up to Bremen next Tuesday, and then down to Culver. Now, do you remember that Culver is a rescheduled varsity-only game, and it does start at, I believe, it's a later 6:30?
6:30.
6:30 on that Culver varsity-only game, and then back here on that Friday for that Knox final home game and senior night. And then
after that?
Sectionals is here this year, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I know that. I don't know if they still were, but I know it's been at Culver before, so I don't know if that was a thing that they were switching every other year or not.
But it had for a while and been here for a while now. So
Hook now goes on over. Ref it quickly in the corner to Bowers. Now feeds Prater underneath. And we're going to get an offensive foul on the Zebras is the call. So officials kind of having their hands full tonight. Two physical teams, a lot of things happening very quickly.
They're trying to let them play, but not get too out of hand. There you
Magic
go.
Swanson hits it from the quarter.
The Trojans take the lead.
Julian Swanson.
Bowers up past the three-point line, goes up on top to Prater. Prater with the jab step, works it on over to Reffett. He'll try ref wing three to answer back, high off the rim, no good. And good rebound by Prater, banks open. Rebound and basket for Prater.
Owen Prater with a rebound and basket.
Swanson attacks from the baseline, it's good.
Great recognition right there by Julian.
And here comes Patrick, intercepts it. Patrick tries to take it, draws the foul, and it's a good shot.
Oh.
Well, they're going to say foul before the shot. The Trojans fans won an 9-1 opportunity. Landon hit his elbow pretty hard.
I think coach is even asking, wasn't he shooting?
I think they're going to say they fouled him on the way through is where the officials are going to call that, which there was a pretty good amount of contact on the way through there.
It happened so quick, I didn't see anything. I just saw him falling.
Oh, I saw it all happen.
So Bowers picked up his first, team's third.
Wayne Riker checks in on behalf of Tanner Woodhoyle. Knocked out of bounds by Reinert. It'll stay right here. Checking in now be Jonas Kaiser. He'll check in for Jack Reffett.
Jonas Kaiser into the Zebras.
Large transitions to the corner for three. Can't drop it in. Rebound to Prater. He's been clearing the boards well here in this first half. Prater works away from the screen, drops it down into Dylan Hook. He goes up, can't drop it in. And Wayne Riker rips down the rebound. Patrick goes on over to Dante Workman. Goes to Julian Swanson, top the key. Now finds Patrick, trying to work it around the perimeter. Patrick sets a screen for Large, trying to fight through. Goes to Patrick on the right wing. Now he'll reset the offense. Workman works away from the screen and stops on the baseline. Feeds it down into Caden Large, goes up and he'll draw the foul underneath the basket.
Fouls on number 30, Jonas Kaiser. Caden Large to the line, shooting two.
First one flushes its way down. As Pollock will check in, as will Bogger.
So Kaiser picked up that foul on earlier there, so that is actually Rochester's fourth team foul for this quarter. So halfway, or 3 minutes to go, and another foul, Trojans be shooting the bonus.
Man,
the bonus.
The bonus.
It has been the second quarter for a long time, it feels like.
Caden Large perfect on that trip as he tickles the twine for the second. Bowers past the half-court line. Patrick shadowing him. Bowers Drives, goes up strong with it and drops it in. Drew Bowers, impressive to watch, scoring the basketball. You've seen thus far. He's got 7 tonight. Swanson gets in the corner. Now goes to Patrick, skips it across the way. Swanson in the corner now. He'll drive. Stops on the baseline. Getting double team. Now finds Workman. Finds Reichert at the free throw line.
Ooh.
And Reinhardt has other ideas. He knocks it back the other way. Feeds it to Wayne Reichert underneath. Blocked there by Kaiser. Back go the Zebras. Good defensive stand, but here comes Swanson. Intercepts it, and he'll go up and Patrick with the assist. Patrick knocked it away. Swanson took it, lifted for Patrick. Patrick says, no, man, you got the steal here. Go score this. Don't give it to me. Go get it.
Asher's landing. He's always one to give his teammates the ball.
I'm going to say Reinhardt took off for putting the ball on the floor, and Prater will check in for Bogger.
Checking in for the Zebras, number 12.
Wood Hoyo back in the game.
Owen Prater.
We'll check in for Reichert.
Back into the game for the Trojans, number 33, Tanner Whithoya.
It gives time for Rochester to get a little bit set up here.
I love this pressure defense by Rochester. Patrick gets the pass. Now he drives. Rochester wanting a travel call. Swanson down to Whithoyo. Up underneath. The collector adjusts and banks open.
Yeah, looking for the defender coming and knowing how to adjust to get around him.
Use those long arms well in that adjusted shot. Reinert's on the outside. Triton by 5. Leaves it for Bowers. Bowers dribble drive. He hit one earlier from there. Can't get down to drop in. Swanson tips the rebound, and Patrick gets it, but a foul call on the Zebras.
That'll send Patrick to the line.
Yep.
For
Prater.
the bonus.
The bonus.
Prater picked up his first.
You know how long it took me to understand that? Like, I'm the one that said it too, but like that OD game, I was like, and then I like rewatching it, and I was like, I had the captions on. It said the THEE, and I was like, I'm slow. It took some time. It took some time. I got it though. I got it now.
You got her eventually. Yeah. Patrick tickles the twine on both those free throws. On that trip. And Triton intercepts that one. Swanson back the other way. Patrick in the corner. Drives the baseline. Goes up, adjusts, and banks open for Patrick. Magic Swanson with the assist.
Okay, go and have yourself a game, Patrick. Come on.
Yep. 6 points right now, but just the defensive.
The defensive stand.
And Triton again with the steal. 1-on-2. 2-on-1 fast break. Whithoyo puts it in! I told him when he was a freshman, I told him after one of these games, said, man, your behind-the-back dribble is legit. And he got to show it off there with that steal and basket. He took it coast to coast, and the collector
gets
9 points on the night.
9 points, and I'm going to say this. I'm going to probably jinx him.
I don't do it.
I better not. But he's been pretty good on his shot selections.
And you know where it started, though? It started with the defense. I mean, in the first quarter, it was lackadaisical. People were kind of slow. And now, I mean, Coach put Patrick in. Patrick's, his energy, it's starting to feed off everybody else. And now the team is alive. They're yelling. They're cheering.
Triton averaging 16.5 points a game from points off of turnovers. And the last game, I do believe they had their third most points, 27 points off turnovers in that game against LaVille last week.
And so right now, Triton's put up 23 points here in this second quarter. Rochester's only got 7.
And with the Trojans, I mean, the last 3 games, 2 of the last 3, they have had less turnovers and more steals. So that just shows right there their defensive prowess.
Bowers now goes to Prater on the left elbow. Up fake goes in the corner. 3-pointer on the way is good there for Jonas Kaiser.
And that's what you want. If you're the Zebras, you got to come out of that timeout, get a bucket, stop the bleeding a little bit.
Swanson now at the center circle. Goes to Whithoyo, top of the key, hands it off to Swanson. Swanson with the runner, with the left hand, good. Breaking out all the magic tricks tonight here for that young man. Prater spins into the lane. Good cut off there by Large. Triton winning a travel call. Out to Prater on the right wing. He'll try the drive. Backing down with Hoyle. Pull-up jumper in the paint. Drops it in.
Beauty.
Textbook back or post up there.
It was beautiful. He doesn't look that big, but he is big and he knows how to use his body.
Patrick rolls left, crosses it over, hands it off to Swanson. 5 seconds on the clock. Swanson to Large, corner three on the way. Counted from the corner, and Triton with a three-pointer to end the first half, and they take the lead by 11 as they head in to the halftime locker room.
Triton putting up
8 points in that second quarter.
Unanswered points. Wow. Double what they put up in that first. That is more than double, actually.
Well, first gear was a little slow, but second gear sure kicked it into high gear in that second quarter for Triton.
Right there.
But Rochester as a team, they put up with those double digits in those 2 quarters. Look for them to come out with a very big second half.
Yeah. Where it starts is the defense. I mean, for the Trojans, that defense they just stepped up, and the offense is a result of that energy from their defense.
We'll put the stats up probably just before we come back for third quarter so we can get this recognition done for the elementary and 7th and 8th grade girls.
All right, so we'll take a break. Be back after halftime right here on the Triton Trojan Sports Network.
Through 8th grade girls basketball here at halftime. Brianna Walker, Kinley Rao, Saran Jones, and Genevieve McNeil. That's your 7th grade basketball. Now your 8th grade basketball, coached by Allison and Brandon Stewart. Sophie Hall, Michaela Yarbrough, Gracie Ripple, Taylor Hudson, Oscar Wright, Willa Record, Savannah Hawley, and Caitlin Crick. And that is your Triton Lady Trojans future basketball stars on the varsity floor. Thank you, coaches. Thank you, parents. Thank you, young ladies, for your dedication to our program.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Terrace of the Trojan Trench. I'm Andy O'Hara. Alongside me here tonight is Quentin Ames and Caden Hummich, Silas Schufelt, Kenny Barnhart, and the Hall of Famer Ryan Lemmer. Here for the Triton Trojan Sports Network, broadcasting live on YouTube and the IHSAA Champions Network. Triton leads here 39-28 here at halftime. Kenny, what were our first half stats?
So the Trojans are perfect at the line, 7-7. Rochester just missed one of their 4 attempts, 75%, 3 of 4. 2-point shooting for the Trojans, 10 of 14 at 71%. The Zebras 8 of 13 at 62%. Behind the arc, Trojans kept firing away, put up 4, only made 4 of their 15 attempts, just 27%, where Rochester was 3 and 9 at 33%. So Rochester, their Bowers, Reinhardt, and Prater all with 7 apiece. Pollock and Kaiser each with 3. really there's no foul issues. You got several, looks like most of the starters all have a single foul, plus a few other of the fellas there. So nobody even has the 2 to worry about. For the Trojans, Swanson, Whithoyo each with 9, Patrick with 6, Large with 5, Workman with 4, Riffle and Pitney each with 3, but they're having those 2 fouls set a lot of that time, so just didn't get their points up there. Where then you got Large and Swanson each with a single foul.
And in that first half, Triton with 19 points off of turnovers in that first half. They had 8 steals to Rochester's 3. Rochester out-rebounded the Trojans 16-10, 13-8 on the defensive boards. As far as turnovers, Triton with 3 to Rochester's 13 in that first half. Second half ready to get underway here as Pitney, Riffle, Whithoyo, Workman, and Swanson the 5 for Triton, with Bogger, Bowers, Prater, Pollock, and Reinhardt the 5 out there for the Zebras. So Rochester will start with the basketball. I said, Q, this team here wouldn't surprise me if we see a big adjustment here to start this third quarter. Swanson, some tight defense, stuck to Bowers to start this second half. Bowers deep 2 on the way. Hawthorne no good, and he'll knock the rebound out of bounds, and Triton comes away with the basketball.
See what the Trojans discussed about this full court pressure.
Pitney works it back up to Dante Workman. Skips it, and Bowers got a hand on that one. Swanson, now here's the trapping from the scorer's table. Somehow weaves his way out of it. Whithoyo, he'll try a 3. Can't drop it in, and Rochester comes away with the rebound. Now goes to Bogger. Skips it to the corner to Pollock. Pitney closes out the shooter. Reinhardt for 3. Count it, and Rochester strikes first here in the second half.
Tell you what, that is a pretty looking jumper that he has right there.
Good ball movement leading up to that shot. Swanson finds Whithoyo. Whithoyo gets it knocked away from Bowers from behind. Whithoyo trying to get it there, thinking that Prater, it was close, but he did not touch the baseline. Pollock goes to Reinhardt with the up fake. Kicks in the corner. Bowers, he'll try a 3. And 2 3-pointers back-to-back.
Yep.
A 6-0 run here for the Zebras to start the second half.
5-point game.
Whithoyo lost through his hands, and Triton turns it over again. Reinhardt's leaves it for Pollock with the up fake.
Stay down.
Adjust for 2. Can't drop it. Pitney gets the defensive board.
Go. Don't stop for the. Don't wait for the press. Get it across.
Now Swanson trying running out of time, and they're going to. Close. Workman at the elbow. Goes to Riffle in the corner. Off the 3-pointer from the corner. Counted for the mailman.
That's a big shot for him to watch another one go down.
Bowers waits, now finds Bogger on the left wing. He'll stop at the elbow, hands it off to Reinhardt, top the key. Finds Pollock. Prater gets in the low block. Now he'll back down. He does this so well. Goes up, adjusts, bank is closed, and Whithoyo collects the rebound. Now goes to Swanson. Now back to Pitney. Finds Dante Workman. He tracks that one down. Feeds Whithoyo underneath. Waits patient with the pump fake. Can't drop it in. Banks closed. And Reinhardt gets the rebound. Patrick to check in next dead ball for Triton. Reinhardt with the up fake. Now he'll drive. Trying to get some separation. Pitney knocks it away, and the ball goes out of bounds. Dylan Hook and Robert Bazzo check in. And Patrick checks in on behalf of Tanner Whithoyo. Bowers now with it. Scanning, goes up on top. Prater. He'll try the dribble drive. In the lane, goes up with the right hand. Banks open. Good drive by Prater. Out of Pitney. Now goes to Swanson. Skips it across the way to Patrick. Pitney receives the handoff. Goes to Dante Workman. Back to Riff on the corner. He'll try the adjusted 3-pointer. Can't drop it in. And Prater gets the defensive rebound. Up the floor to Bowers. Bowers attacks on the free throw line. Now feeds it to Bazo underneath.
Somebody's open.
Reinhardt, Bazo will try a three. Can't get that one to go in. Swans up the floor. Goes to Pitney. Triton's going to have to get it up the floor and does. Now to Patrick. Patrick. I say he was shooting. I think that ball was going to go to the corner.
Gage was open.
I think
even
Landon like
he's still going.
I was passing that. I kind of thought that.
Oh, no, I was shooting.
Oh,
You're
no,
right,
that's right.
Forgot. Sorry, let me.
So Prater picked up his second, team's first.
Let's get that one to go in.
Number 24, Carson Pollock. Number 30.
So Pollock checks in, as does Jonas Kaiser. Caden Large checks in on behalf of Gage Riffle. And Patrick perfect on that trip. Kind of confused on who to pick up. Reiners, he'll try the dribble drive. Big man stops, works around. Bazo hot pass to Kaiser. Pollock, now to Bazo. Kaiser for two. Drops it from the baseline.
Jonas Kaiser with a basket.
Up the floor to Workman. He got a hand on it. Reinhardt's behind the back dribble. Trying to get freed up, and Swanson can get called for a foul.
You know, even if that wasn't an intentional foul, it was a smart foul. Didn't have the numbers. Rochester's looking to be aggressive. They can smell the blood.
So Swanson picked up his second, team's first.
And Owen Prater in for the Zebras.
So Drew Bowers and Owen Prater check back in the game for Rochester. Hook top the key. Goes to Pollock here on the near side corner. Kaiser top the key. Feeds it to Prater underneath. He has worked the paint so well tonight.
He gets him 11 points.
Now to Patrick. He'll split the defenders up the floor. Patrick attacking quickly. Lost the dribble. And Pollock takes it over. Down the floor to Bowers. Bowers to Prater. Prater goes up and can't get it, but the follow through by a hook can't drop in. And Dante Workman gets the rebound off the two-minute shot for Rochester. Leads Workman up the floor. Dante in the corner to Pitney. Now to Caden Large. Swanson from straight away. Count it! From beyond the arc for Julian Swanson. And Reinhardt and Riffle check back in the game for either side, as does Tanner Whithoyo.
For the Zebras. Whithoyo back in for the Trojans.
So Triton starting five. Oh, I'm sorry, not starting five. Is not on the floor. Pitney came off the floor. Prater to bring it up. Past the half-court line. He'll leave the center circle. Stops on the right wing. Goes to Reinhardt in the corner. He'll drive the baseline. Goes up. Riffle trying to draw the charge, but Reinhardt's follow through is good as he'll get the rebound and basket. Swanson goes to Patrick. The Triton fans trying to encourage him to go. Riffle adjusts and drops it in. We're going to say he drew a charge. And the Triton fans not happy with that call.
So Riffle's going to pick up his third.
That's a big foul.
Yep.
That's a really big foul.
And Jacob Pitney back in the game. As it looked like Riffle was in the air. But hey, you know, Rochester got in there, drew the charge.
Rochester's doing everything that they can to bring this back. Down by 5, they know.
You know, got in the right place at the right time.
Yep.
They get the call there. As Bowers uses the screen to his right, three-pointer on the way. Count it, it's a dagger from the right wing. Cuts that lead to 2.
Three-point basket.
So trying to battle through some adversity here. Patrick will get it across and does. Splits the defenders. Leaves it for Swanson. Goes to Pitney, now down to Workman. Dante goes back up. And they're going to say he drew the foul.
Fouls on number 24, Carson Pollock.
So Pollock picked up his second, team second.
And now Griffel going to check in with 3 fouls for Landon Patrick. Dylan Hook checks in for the Zebras.
For the Zebras.
Jason Groves, quick conversation with Landon Patrick here.
Yeah, coach him up on that press break probably.
Workman empty trip. Reiners with the rebound. 2-point ball game. Trojans out in front as Prater gets in the low block. He'll drive the baseline, backing down. Finds Reinhardt. Out to Prater. Up on top to Bowers, in the corner to Pollock. Pollock with the basketball, scanning. Now goes up on top to Reiners. Finds Dylan Hook. Reinhardt on the left wing, finds Prater. Reinhardt for the tie. Back iron, no good. Pitney gets the defensive rebound. Minute and a half to go here in the third. Pitney up the floor. Stops, now finds Julian Swanson. Workman feeds it down to Whithoyo, got lost underneath, bakes open the slingshot, credit for the assist. Prater, nice spin move going up. He gets tied up. They're going to say Triton held with the far official is the call. Some contact on the drive.
Pretty move, and Tanner just got his arm stuck.
Yeah, but they called it on Swanson. So Swanson picked up his third.
So Reffett now checking in. Landon Patrick back in the game after some instruction. Up high to Prater. Lost his dribble.
Ooh.
Trying to get some separation. Reffett goes to Bowers. Back to Prater, corner jump or side of the lane jumper, no good. And Reinhardt rips away the basketball on. He'll lose it on the drive. Some confusion on the floor as far as assignments go. Patrick now to Swanson, trying to find a way to break this press. And does. Patrick caught in the corner, gets himself freed up, finds Pitney. To Swanson. Knocked away from Bowers, and Swanson lets it go
Smart.
Across the half-court line. Swanson to Patrick. $20 seconds to go here in the third. Now to Workman, lost it between his legs. Feeds Whithoyo, banks open. The collector with another one inside. He's got 13 on the night. Reinhardt with the up fake. 3-pointer from straight away. Can't get the adjusted shot to go. Patrick running out of time. 3 seconds. He'll try to feed it, and that's going to do it for the third quarter. Triton leads by 6. So 29 points combined scored in that third quarter.
Yep, Triton put up 12. Rochester put up 17. So get it down to that 6-point deficit for the Trojans. So making for a good fourth quarter.
These two teams can score at a high clip in that fourth quarter as far as their averages go.
We're good. We're good.
Drop something?
No, I did not drop. Okay, I dropped the pen.
You dropped the pen.
Okay, Abby.
No. Okay.
Did you drop anything around?
Okay, I was clicking the pen.
I dropped my phone earlier, so I'll accept that defeat.
And then I got stuck on the table. I'm not afraid to admit it.
Gosh. I hate that song.
You don't like this song?
Dude. Overplayed.
No! I've heard this song like forever. I know the dance.
So did we in middle school. And every time Warsaw scored a touchdown, we played it.
So you didn't hear it very often? Knee slapper.
There were a couple of games. No. There were some you got it. we looked forward to it. It was a special thing, but then
and then it got to the point where
when you're an ag
so
kid,
good.
that song got overplayed at many of leadership conference camps. That song was overplayed.
No, I like picking on my buddy. He went the worst also. I gotta do it here.
I'm not a fan of Eye of the Tiger anymore either. Heard that enough times. And a foul call here right out of the gate with 6 seconds gone.
I haven't heard that song in forever. I wasn't a big fan of it in the first place anyways.
Well, I liked it in Rocky.
Thunderstruck is starting to get there. It's one of those songs I'm starting to get a little tired of hearing all the time.
I get you. Jackson loves that song, so we're hearing it a lot.
So Hook picked up his second foul.
Workman will touch the out-of-bounds line, and Triton turns it over.
That's a tight rope over there on that sideline.
Now goes to Kaiser. Leave it for Prater. Goes to Hook, lost his dribble, regains control. Now he drives the lane, tries to lean into that one. Bank is closed, and Pitney with another rebound. Swanson goes across the way to Patrick. Ripped away from Hook. Patrick regains control. Patrick pushing it up to Pitney.
Push it.
Workman kicks it back to Pitney with the up fake. So Workman on the baseline. He goes up and intercepted by Hook. Prater on the right block. He steps into the paint, goes up high with it, and drops it in. Looking like an artist in the paint tonight.
He is very comfortable down there.
Yeah, get it across now.
And Patrick in the far side corner. Goes to Swanson. Now to Patrick.
Rochester's doing a great job of taking away that middle. Or making it very difficult, but
Woodhoyo
not for the slingshot.
Patrick with the interception. Stops, goes up, gets it blocked by Reinertz. Triton might got away with a couple fouls there. Prater attacks in transition. Finds Bowers cutting to the basket, goes up with it, drops it in. And Rochester going to call a timeout. You know what a physical, what was that, 10 seconds?
Yeah. And then, all the steals are looking, offensive, not sleeping just a little bit, get their hand in there.
This has been a very defensive game. Both teams' defense is just, that's the offense right now on steals and pressure.
You'll never hear this guy complain about defense leading the offense.
No, I absolutely love defense. I can't watch the NBA anymore because
nobody plays
there's
defense.
Not enough defense. Sure, you can make the argument they're the best players in the world, so it's hard to defend them. I don't care. Michael Jordan, six-time.
When I grew up, the end of an NBA game, 80 points, boy, you're scoring high. 90 points is a rarity. 100 points was unique unless it was an all-star game. I mean, I kind of miss those 70 and 80-point games. And that defense, granted, some may say it's boring, but I like my defense.
Yeah, I get wanting to see more offensive, but, not too long ago, like a couple months ago, they said that it was the first time ever that they had 5+ teams all on the same night score 100 points. It was like 5 games. Both teams scored over 100. I was like, oh, my Lord.
Nope.
That's too much.
Offense sells. Offense sells, apparently.
I don't know. Michael Jordan would have been really fun to watch.
Oh, yes, he would have. He was just as fun to watch, in my opinion. Pitney has the whole baseline, leaves it for Workman. Workman going to accelerate. Stops. Pitney got to get it across now. Finds Swanson. Swanson the right wing. Julian.
Yeah, there's 5 guys around him.
And they're going to call a foul call on Rochester. Their fans not happy with that call.
Fouls on number 20, Owen Prater.
So Prater picked up his third, team's second.
Corner.
Right to Riffle. Closed out by Prater. Workman will set the table. He'll curl around, back to the wing, receives the handoff. Now to Woodhoyo. Pull-up jumper from inside the free throw line. Can't drop it in. And Kaiser gets the long rebound. Lays it for Bogger. Hands off to Reinertz. Finds
good
Prater underneath,
pass.
and he goes up and can't get the opportunity to drop in, and Triton comes with the rebound. Pitney now. Goes to Swanson, top of the key. Pitney on the left wing. Finds Swanson, who has 12 on the night. They'll work it away to Dante Workman. Finds Whithoyo. Back to Riffle in the corner. Catch and shoot three. Counted for the mailman from the corner. That gives him 9.
And all from behind the arc.
Kaiser finds Reinertz. They'll go to the elbow. Workman sends it back. Reinertz goes out to Bogger. Kaiser trying to feed it through. Down to Prater on the baseline. Bogger, 3-point from the wing. Can't drop it in. Whithoyo gets the rebound and leaves it for Swanson. Up to Pitney. Riffle again. Can't drop it in. Dante Workman with the offensive rebound. Basic Girls trying to call timeout.
Yeah, he's over here. He's over here telling them I had.
Coach is upset because he thought he had the ref's attention for the timeout, but the other whistle blew.
So Rochester comes away with the basketball. Bowers back the other way. Bowers works with the screen. Tries to feed it down into Prater and does. Prater has a look, goes up with the runner, can't drop it in. Whithoyo collects the rebound. Swanson goes to Pitney.
In the middle.
Back to Swanson. Out of Pitney. Finds Dante Workman in the corner to Riffle. To Swanson. Swanson lost on the way through and knocked away from Dante Workman. Rochester comes away with the basketball as Dylan Hook will check in for the Zebras.
We better figure out the press for the next few games, or the teams we face are going to exploit it.
Yeah.
Ryan doesn't talk often, but when he does, there's plenty of wisdom in those words.
I haven't seen us play the press this bad for a while.
Rochester with the travel.
Grove's helping out down there.
Being a player, like watching him when he would get like enthusiastic. As a player, I was like, yeah, let's go. But at practice, oh, buddy,
nah.
Never. When he had that calm tone, it was fine, except for one time. But that practice was a long one.
Out of Dante Workman, back to Riffle. Corner 3 on the way. Can't drop it in. Too strong, hit the far iron. Prater gets the rebound. Up the floor to Kaiser. Kaiser skips it across to Reinertz for 3 on the way. Can't drop it in from the wing. And Pitney gets the rebound. Goes to Swanson, back to Pitney. Out of Swanson.
Got to get across.
Pitney will step on the out-of-bounds line, try and turns it over in the full court.
Not going to say anything.
And a timeout for Rochester, as they will have one timeout remaining. Triton yet to use a timeout in this ball game.
That'll give Groves maybe a little bit of time now here since I just lost that out on that 10-second.
He's going to ask him, you guys want to lose this game? Like,
yeah.
what are we doing, guys?
Help
we
out.
have ran the press how many times in practice? That's one of the things that we always practice. Whether a team was going to press or not, we always run that the press.
And it's not like it's 2 minutes into the game. You're still getting it going.
And it's not like it's like the third game of the season either.
Yeah.
You were at the chunk of the season where everything's got to start getting more crisp, and you got to be better on everything. Sectionals is right around that corner.
Rochester down here continuing to find those adjustments as they trail by 7.
You talk about a defensive battle here this fourth quarter, just 9 points, 5 and 4. Trojans and the Zebras have put up. So
we'll give it to both teams. Both teams' benches are all extremely locked in. They're looking at all their coaches, making eye contact, watching the boards.
2 very good coaching staffs on either side.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of funny. You see one that they're enthusiastic and they're yelling, and then you got the other side. They're not so much yelling and
calm demeanor.
Yeah.
Malchow in his 16th year, Jason Groves in his 19th season. Coaching all time, Jason Grove 17-10 against Rochester. Malchow 12-10 against the Trojans. Bowers goes to Prater, fakes the handoff. Lost his dribble, back to Bowers. Down to Reinhardt underneath. Reinhardt leans into that one, and there's going to be a foul call on Triton.
Dante, raise your hand. Yep.
And Pitney looking like, man, I had all ball, but yep, Dante got him with the body.
So Workman picked up his first, Trojans first.
I'll tell you what, that was beautiful footwork down there in that low post.
But Reinhardt's watching him on film. This guy here very good as far as, well, the whole team in general with Rochester. Good footwork with these guys when they attack the post or how they drive with the basketball. This group has some very nice footwork.
And what amazes me is when they are, they're going downhill with a full head of steam. It's very, very controlled. Very, very controlled.
Reinhardt's in and out on the second. Pitney falls to the floor but gets rid before he hits the deck. Now to Workman. We're trying to go through, and a timeout for Jason Gross. He'll use his first timeout of the ball game. It's inside 3 minutes to go. 6 points separate the two teams.
Largest lead was 11 points for the Trojans. There have been 7 lead changes and 3 ties at the
halftime break.
And I don't think there's been a tie yet, but it's been very close.
Hugh, you're this Rochester coaching staff, and what I do, they have a lot of assistants in there talking, along with Coach Malchow. What are these guys saying to that group wearing black and gold down there as they take the floor?
We got this, guys. Just keep wearing them down. Keep pressuring in the full court. The full court, it looks beautiful. It might look hectic at sometimes, but that's the greatest thing about full court press is that you want to get that offense going crazy. And
Pitney with the up fake, banks open. And the senior comes up big.
That's tough right there.
Up high, Kaiser can't corral it, and Rochester turns it over. On the flip side, if your coach Groves coming out of a timeout like this inside 3 minutes, what's he saying to his guys?
Breathe, relax, run the press like we know how to run it. Get good shots. We want great shot selection in this last few minutes. Every bucket counts. Every possession matters right now.
Swanson fakes it. Now they're running out of time. Now to Dante Workman. They have flirted with that 10 seconds all night. Prater with the hustle play. Rochester comes away with the basketball. Prater close, trying to call timeout, and they will have no timeouts remaining as he was kind of camped out there on the half-court line. So Rochester, that was their last timeout. And have to take a full timeout. Prater had nowhere to go.
Yep, on the floor and couldn't get it past anywhere. And
now, what's the rule if Riffle would have got in there? Is it still a jump ball if Riffle was on the opposite side of the half court? It's just a jump ball, right? Because Rochester didn't cross over the plane.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
See, there's some stuff that's confusing.
Then the other part was where even if he did cross over as Gage touched the ball, the other team touched the ball.
So it's still not over.
So it's a 50-50.
Yep.
Gotcha.
That's where your jump ball would come.
Because there's some confusing things. Because if
At
somebody's
least,
out of bounds,
in my mind, that's how it
no, it's out of bounds. That's supposed to be
just out of bounds because there's a player out of bounds.
That one don't count.
Now there has been a thing going around here in the last week or so that if the guy outside of is inbounding the ball and passes the ball over the plane of the court, and then the defensive guy grabs the ball and he can take off with it, and it's not a technical because the ball is actually physically over into the court. Into the court.
I saw a highlight the other day where that very thing happened.
Yes.
So Matt Barnes, if Kobe, instead of not flinching, would have just grabbed the ball, it wouldn't have been technical. You ever seen that clip?
Nope. Oh, yes.
Then they end up becoming teammates later and winning a championship together.
Yep. Reinhardt now goes on over to Dylan Hook in the corner to Bowers. Bowers drives the baseline, finds Kaiser through contact.
That's on Gage. That is number 4.
And one opportunity comes for Jonas Kaiser. And it is.
Yep, that is on Riffle, so his 4th.
So Coach Grove's going to leave him out there with 4 fouls with 2:11 to go.
Just got to be smart. This game goes into overtime for some reason.
Kaiser off the mark on the second, or on the first, on the and one opportunity. Rochester continues to swarm the basketball. Swanson out of Workman, top of the key, back in the corner. Riffle for three from the corner, contested and drops it in. Counted from the corner. And a Dylan Hook. Bowers for three. Drops it. Can't drop it in. Kaiser goes to Reinhardt's. Out to Bowers. Or excuse me, out to Hook. Now down to Bowers. And Bowers, they're going to say he dropped that shoulders, but the official's going to make that call.
Great job by Landon.
Turn it over.
If you're not gonna front, you got to make sure that you're going to be taking that charge or make it difficult for him.
So Bowers picked up his second, team's third.
Now goes to Dante Workman. Back to Pitney. Minute and a half to go in the ball game. Out to Workman. Skips it across to Landon Patrick. Patrick throws it up the floor to Pitney.
Oh, couldn't quite get it there.
Swanson. Now to Riffle. Feeds it to Workman.
Cut baseline.
Riffle with the up fake. Crosses it. Finds Workman underneath. Gets it knocked away from Prater. And a late whistle from the baseline official.
So Prater picked up his fourth, team's fourth.
Dante Workman, new line, shooting two.
Workman good on the first. And Caden Large checks in for Gage Riffle.
Telling Gage, you be ready to go. Caden's in because he's got fouls to give. You don't.
Workman tickles the twine as he has 6 points on the evening. Prater trying to get separation. Leans into that one and drops it in right over top of Pitney.
Owen Prater with the basket.
Final minute of the ball game. Pitney, or at least of regulation. Pitney out the basketball, skips up the floor, finds Dante Workman. He'll attack, goes up, and he had one opportunity coming. He gets that one to go in.
Dante Workman basket is good. Fouls on number 4, Dylan Hook.
So Hook picked up his third.
And he gets 3 points the old-fashioned way. Triton extends their lead, largest lead of the ball game here at 12. Prater tops the key. Prater spins into trouble into the paint, but he handles it. Can't drop it in, gets his own rebound, goes back up with it, can't drop it in. Reiners with the rebound off the baseline, and with a nice play, throws it off Triton's team. And goes out of bounds, and they'll hang on to it on their own baseline. 35 seconds to go. And Reiners and the official having a long conversation. Out goes to Prater. For Kaiser for three. Can't drop it in. Pitney gets the defensive rebound, and he'll draw the foul. Now we'll send him the line for the bonus with 24.2 to go.
So Kaiser picked up his second.
Pitney to the line, shooting 2.
He crosses over, so free throw won't count. Off the back iron, no good, and Reiners and Workman collide on the rebound. Now it goes out of bounds.
Neither ref.
And there's say Rochester hangs on the basketball. No one was making a decision. I didn't see it in time. And Hoyo checks in with 19.7 to go. And Dante Workman comes off the floor. Reinhardt goes down to Dylan Hook. Good drive. Banks open.
Dylan Hook with the basket.
Now to Swanson, fakes it. Now back to Pitney. 7 seconds. And Triton is going to pick up their 14th win of the year as Woodhoyo gets hit hard. Woodhoyo slow to get up.
And that's on Prater. So that finishes him for the evening with 15.
Checking in for the Zebras, number 32, Grant Clark.
It's the third game Triton's been over 60 points in a ball game this season. Off the mark on that one, and that's going to do it. As Triton's going to win here, 66 to 56. I guess, am I doing interviews?
I'd like to get a Grove one since we didn't Friday.
Well, I couldn't.
Yeah.
That's not your fault.
Friends in Rochester, thank you for coming down. Have a safe trip home and a great rest of your season. We pick up in the trench this Saturday against Plymouth.
All right, looks like we got team stats to go across there. So Trojans there 71% free throw line, 12 of 17. Rochester 4-7 at 57%. For the 2-point, Triton's 15 of 22 at 68%. Rochester 17 of 36 for 47%. 3-point shooting, both teams in that 30%, 8 of 23 for the Trojans and 6 of 18 for the Zebras. Bowers and Prater each with 15. Renarts with 13. Geyser with 7 and Hook with 3. For the Trojan stats there, the Woodhoyo with 15. Swanson, Riffle each with 12. Workman with 9. Patrick with 8. Large and Pitney round out with 5 apiece. So stay tuned here. We'll probably get possibly one of the players, and then we'll Coach Groves here later
All right, and we got Landon Patrick and Caden Large. Guys, another physical game for you guys. I mean, that team was pretty tough down underneath and made you guys work underneath. Caden, you've been doing this for a while. What's it like to get your third time against Rochester and a very tough team in that and having to battle underneath?
I mean, it means a lot to just win 3 times. And, yeah, they're a tough team, but we came out on top.
And Landon, I mean, tonight, I mean, the backcourt, I mean, they pressured in the full court. How as a team did you guys have to communicate to try to find your way through that defense?
I mean, it's just a process. Like, we practice the 2 nights before and just about everything they do, and Groves prepares us as best as he can, and I feel like we executed pretty well tonight.
And for you guys, you know, you get to, I talk about the Triton youngsters, the guys that sit here in this front row. Caden, how important, because you're one of those kids that were down there to watch that, what's it like to be the guys that they're cheering on from the sideline?
I mean, it means a lot because, as you said, I was the one watching them back in the day. So, I mean, it meant a lot to me back then, so it means a lot to do it again. And
Landon, I mean, of course, I mean, granted, you weren't one of those guys, but you were one of those guys for the school you were at. What's it like, and how important is it that those kids are showing up and seeing you guys play on the floor?
I mean, it's awesome because they look up to us like I looked up to all the high schoolers I watched. So it's just cool how well we're playing and how they get to cheer us on, and they get into the game more than most of the crowd. So it's pretty cool that they get to look up to us and watch us play. So
we always talk about Coach Groves and him in the halftime locker room and then Q talks about him during practice and things like that. What's your favorite Coach Groves moment? I mean, I know you guys are underclassmen, so be careful this answer because I don't know how he acts in practice. What's your guys' favorite moment with Coach Groves?
Oh, gosh.
Kate, you've been here the longest. You're getting the mic first.
Oh, my favorite moment? That's a tough one.
Or when do you enjoy him most? Do you enjoy him most during practice or during a game?
During the game, he gets loud. He gets really red in the face and just starts yelling, and, yeah, really excited.
It kind of sends you to a different gear.
Yeah.
And for you, Landon, what I mean, you got a little bit of a double-edged sword. You got your dad down there on the bench with you as well. But Coach Groves, where do you enjoy him the most out here?
I mean, honestly, in practice and in games, he's pretty calm. But I kind of like it when he gets fired up because that just gets us all pumped up. And I feel like when he's mad, when he's getting fired up, then that pushes us to be as best as we can. So.
And you guys have, with a lot of, like you said, a deep coaching group that's on that bench with you guys, with even Coach Shorey and Coach Coach, oh my God, Kendig. I don't know why I almost said Kaiser, my bad. But for having those guys there and that deep coaching staff, how important is that for your guys' development as such a young team?
I mean, it's really important because they all have their different roles. Like, Shorey watches a lot of film, and Patrick, he's a good coach, and Groves is a really good coach, and they all get us prepared. So, yeah.
And for you?
I mean, there's a lot of years played and coached on that bench, so it's just awesome that we get all the different aspects and views from the game that, I mean, most teams probably don't have that experience because Shorey and Groves both went to the state. My dad and Kindig were on winning teams, so, I mean, it's just awesome, all the experience we have to help us win.
Well, guys, congrats on another win. I'll let you guys go get dressed and get ready for the next one, so we'll see you that one. We'll have Coach Groves here in just a minute. We'll be right back on the Triton Trojan Sports Network. All right, now we got Coach Groves. Coach, you talk about a team that scored off the points off turnovers, 23 points tonight for this group off of turnovers. What's it like in a game like this where it was physical, they had to find a way to score, and they were scoring off those turnovers?
It was huge. Obviously the first quarter they kind of threw those hockey subs and started pressing us and getting after us, and we didn't handle that too well, but we started playing defense, and that's where I thought we got back into the game. Landon really came off the bench and gave us a spark. That's what he's capable of doing, just coming in and being that pest and getting some turnovers, getting some easy buckets. And a game like this where they're getting after you defensively, you got to find an easy way to score at times. And our kids that's what I think have been kind of the key to our success. We're finding different ways to score. Whether it's defensively leading to the offense, or Dante or Tanner inside a little bit more than normal, and it's been nice to see a lot of balance.
And for your guys, that second quarter, 28 points put up in that second quarter for this group. What's it like, after a slow start, and then they just kick into a whole nother gear? They've done that the last 2 games. What's it like to be able to see that as a coach, to see them adjust and go and adjust quarter to quarter?
It's great. With this group, they're kind of up and down like that. We may see, a quarter like that, or 2 quarters, or 3 quarters like LaVille game, and but you never know where that lull's going to happen. Usually we struggle putting 4 of those together, and I think that's kind of got to be our focus. For the rest of the way out here is try to put 4 of those quarters together, and just and it's the little things I think you can control. I think it's just not turning the ball over, keep defending, keep rebounding. Little things like that will keep those dry spells from happening. So it's something that I think we can correct. But I appreciate this group. They've been super coachable, been doing a great job. Unselfish, share the basketball, great leadership. So it's been a great group.
And with those guys, like you said, they've been such a coachable group. When they hit those tough moments where they weren't handling the press as well as they should have, or not moving the ball quick enough, or things like that, how does this group really react in the huddle as far as when you guys are all giving them some instruction?
Yeah, they're super coachable. That's what I like about this group. I can get on this group. I get on them. I'm intense and during the game, and they know that, and they know it just comes out of competitiveness, and and we want the best for them, and they handle it great. Sometimes they'll chirp at each other, and but nothing too bad, and but it's part of the game. I think that stuff's going to happen, and you just got to get through it and stay focused on what you need to do. That's the big thing. It's okay to be upset about a turnover, but you got to gather yourself and kind of refocus and execute and do what we do. I think when you start, sometimes when you get too upset, that kind of takes you away from the execution. You can't get away from that execution.
I asked the guys, and I said, where do you enjoy Coach Groves the most? Because Q up there, he's always chirping about what he enjoys and the things that get him fired up. And they said, Coach Groves, when he's calm, he's cool, but it's great and all. But when he gets fired up, boy, he just takes us to a whole nother level. What's it like hearing that your players go to a whole nother level when they hear you getting fired up on the sideline?
It's good. I think they see the competitiveness. I think they want to win and they want to compete and do that as well. I think you got to set the example. If I didn't care and I was just, hey, good job, guys, no matter what was happening, I don't think that's the way to coach kids. Yeah. And so, I think they just feed off of that and just shows them an example of being competitiveness and having competitive nature and still being a good sport about it too.
So Triton picks up their 14th win here tonight. We're going to hang it up from the Trojan Trench. Until next time, remember the Trojan way.